to Insight Private Wealth and our quarterly investment market update. Steve, we've just finished our September quarter review. It's been a fairly up and down sort of a quarter this period.
It has, Sam. And in fact, looking at the recent news, you might expect it's going to be a negative quarter. But in fact, the quarter just squeaks out to be positive. And it's probably a good idea just to look at what's happened in the last year, because everything's been happening sort of year to date. Yeah. And it's definitely been an up and down year. But you'll see from about the end of June, Sam, markets started to go up, almost ignoring the fact that, interest rates were up and there's lots of talk around inflation. Of course, stock markets always, live in eternal hope, and you see the market going up and up. But then towards the end of September, it became obvious that the central banks were determined to stamp out inflation by rising rates. And so the market's come off since then. So overall, year to date, you'll see the Australian market down, as are markets, around the world.
The Australian share market, though, hasn't fared as badly as international share markets?
That's right, Sam. When we move to looking at other markets, they have been doing worse. And if you think about the developed markets, it mainly consists of the US on one hand, and that's done quite poorly. Of course, that was the best performing market before 2021. So no surprise, that's come off the most. And of course, there's a big tech sector in the US market, and that's certainly been hit hard. Tech stocks have been hit hard. They have in Australia too, but they're only a small part of the Australian market.
Europe's been adversely impacted by what's happening over in Ukraine and Russia.
Correct. There's an additional risk element over there because of the ongoing conflict in Russia and Ukraine. We may have all thought that would have been over in March. It seems to keep going, and also seems to be developing sort of even more unease around it.
And what about bonds now, Steve?
Yeah, so it's just not good news on the bond front, Sam. It's been a year where yields have been going up, both here in the US and around the world. You can see that in the chart there. So in the US now, those 10-year yields are just touching, 4%, and they're expected to climb up to about 4.5% by the middle of next year. Now, when yields go up, it means bond prices go down, and that's what we're looking at.
And of course, look, this is just a normal cycle that we've seen in investment markets. Things will go up and go down over time as there's geopolitical and other influences there. I think you've got a chart on that, Steve, which sort of shows the long-term track record of how markets generally perform.
Yeah, that's right, Sam. This is not, COVID was something completely unusual. What we're witnessing now, it's not pleasant, but it's part of a normal cycle. And I think investors, if you've been in the market, for a few years or so, keep in mind that in the last 10 years, up until 2021, the Australian market was up an overall of 280%, and the US market was up 740%. Yeah. So yeah, it's not pleasant at the moment, but for long-term investors, it's all good.
Yeah. Keep in mind, Insight Private Wealth is independent, and we're not controlled or owned by the banks, superannuation funds, industry funds, or any other product manufacturer. So the advice that we do provide to clients is absolutely independent. Keep focused on those long-term returns, stay disciplined in terms of your investment approach, but if you do need any sort of investment advice, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be glad to help.